Hi, Cancer. Here, this is your Pisces season reading, your March reading. I can already get the feeling that you don't really want to have this reading. But all information worked with me one-on-one is below, as well as the extended version to this reading, which will be in the first link below. You know, when days when words just feel like, what? It's like I feel the Mercury in Pisces so much right now. And we're in it for a little bit longer until next week. Pisces season is making itself very clear. Or you may be making yourself very clear right now to some people. People who are willing to listen, of course. You may have a lot to say at this time. And you just have to notice, you know, who's willing to listen to you, like actually listen, right? There's different stages of listening that I encourage you to look into. But repeating words in people's heads, that's a great device to be present, but it's not actually going to help you remember, or talking back right away, whatever that dynamic is. This information that you are giving at this time almost feels like this door that's opened up, and it's like a rush. It's a rush. But it's also backed behind. This Queen of Cups is just coming out. I always notice something, and it's not a major this month. It's the Queen of Cups. This emotional stability is really it here. You're wondering, maybe you're wondering, in the shell, the crab is maybe wondering, you know, can I physically, can I emotionally support what I'm saying and the actions that I'm taking right now? It's a very valid question, Cancer. It's a very healthy question, okay? So if you're someone who is afraid to say, it's funny, I had my Marvel shirt on before. I almost feel like I should have kept it on. I just wanted to wear purple, but it actually, like, you know, I think we've talked about that before. You may not have the right, you have the right idea. You may not have the right time, right? We talk about perfect timing all the time, but it may be that you just, as you're asking yourself this question, you may be digesting what it is through what you receive from this. You know, if you find that you're being given not the same energy that you give, like maybe you give so much and you're only receiving a little, right? You know, just notice how that makes you feel, right? I've heard teachers say, like, I tell people what to do, but then they do something different or the opposite or whatever. And this looks like one of those moments. And it's possible that the reason why you're going through this emotional, or this moment of emotion and emotional processing. So first you asking yourself, like, am I capable of handling this? The second thing that happens is life kind of bringing you to that place, like, I don't know, can you? Right? Let's experience something to see if, like, you're stable. And what I think it does for you, and these are the cards, the rest of the cards that fell out, and it actually opens to a part of you that you need to see in order to heal. And it could be a part of your abundance wound. I didn't want to sound too like ooh, but it's like that a part of you where you feel lacking at this time. You may feel like you need to rush something, but the Queen of Cups is like, take a beat. You know, just like, we're in Pisces season. We can time travel. Like, anything that you need healing, and I Leo, you know, your neighboring sign, I was also saying this too as well. And I think of you guys similarly in this way, where people come to you looking for something specific, right? They kind of have this expectation of how you may respond to something. And it's when you decide to like shift that, and you don't give somewhat of a conventional response, or what what they're looking for, then there are some that get turned off by that. But then you're left wondering, like, is that how you are with me? Which is also another healthy question. Instead of just assuming, right? What comes out of this understanding and this knowing of yourself is, interestingly enough, that whenever you're going through something else good is what happens, is because you're facing something. You're really not being given a choice. It's almost like the judgment card. It's almost like the judgment card is out. I was just going to say, it's almost like you haven't been given a choice. I was looking down. I didn't see that there was a low battery. Yeah, something good comes from this healing. Because this isn't like something, and what's beautiful about you water signs is that you already know the depth of things. You've been there, whether in a healthy or a non-healthy way at some point, except for if you've like really blocked off, you know. So this healing for you is more vast than it is deep for you this month. It's more like encompassing, and that's what it seems to be for everyone. Like there's this one specific thing that encompasses, or is like the link, the pattern to a general theme. And what you're learning to do is you're standing in what you say. Not that you haven't before, but something's different. You're different to an extent, and you notice there's a sense of urgency underlying this, but it doesn't come across that way. And you may come up against someone who is also very open, or willing to be open. Also, just notice how you're breathing. Pay attention to your breath, maybe, or do something good for your lungs, perhaps your nervous system. This does feel like a nervous system shift too. I've been reading a lot of that as well. That's the Mercury changes, right? Mercury's in Pisces, which it has the malleability to really shift if you want to, right? If you're willing, not with just the easy things, but uncovering what it is that you've maybe been stubborn about. What, even though it hasn't been helpful, you've kind of been protecting this person or this part of yourself, which is the same thing. If you're protecting a person, you're protecting a part of yourself that feels for that person, or understands, or relates, or maybe you just don't know how to not do that, right? You're a very protective person. Your greatest quality of responsibility can also be like a burden, because you may feel responsible for like everyone and everything and their emotions, and you're having that moment where you're like, I'm not responsible right now. And then towards the end of the month, you're like, okay, I feel that shift again. And yet I can no longer protect you from something that is not actually protecting you anymore. You're facing some things here that is requiring you to have courage. Here, I'm just gonna use the bottom here. I was about to shuffle and I was like, courage is coming out of my mouth, strength, courage. the emotional capacity to see this through, right? We had the Three of Swords, which is the swords going through the heart. This is the Leo card that connects to the heart in the back. There is a potential here that you're tapping into from the release of this experience and this maybe even constraint that someone has had over you, or the pattern is showing up in the form of it's manifesting in the form of a person or a situation. Especially, I just feel like this is very work related because we have the Six of Pentacles over there. Feels very work related. It almost feels like you're releasing this pattern in which you've received something. It's because the other person emphasized it and they made it feel like it's more important than it actually has been. It's actually been more harmful to your experience and actually has perhaps even held you back from experiencing a greater form of fortune. And then you'll go on this role here, which you do, and it's very intuitive. There could also be someone that you connect with at this time that shows you and reveals to you, okay, if this is the kind of connection I'm making with this person and this person feels, and you still have to get to know this person in order to understand them even more and see how they really operate, because you really have to get to know someone in order for to see if things match up. I think it quickly makes it easier for you because something just clicks in you, right? So I just think, and what I see here is it makes it easier for you to release and acknowledge that and have the courage and the strength to say to yourself and possibly to someone else that you care about, like, hey, this just isn't what it used to be, or we're growing in different ways and I love you. However, I don't, or you naturally see how your relationship changes and others grow. You may see that too this year, for sure. It's also about doing what's best for you by shutting down those voices that make you feel obligated, right? Or the guilt that you've absorbed from growing up in certain situations around you. You're now releasing and having compassion for yourself, and because you're being honest with yourself, right? It doesn't mean you have to hurt anyone. It doesn't mean anyone has to be harmed in the process. You can't, take away what people perceive personally, of course. You can only do your part. But it's this acknowledgement and this acceptance, and that's what helps maybe if you're looking to heal a part of the masculine wound. And it could be that this person was a Leo. So it could be that the new person's a Gemini, the old person is a Leo in your life. And if it's not, it's just this environment that's very fixed and has a certain way about it, and it revolves around a particular person who is the one who decides on or makes the decisions. There's a almost like a bossiness about this, but it comes from a lack of confidence or belief in oneself, and you are starting to turn that corner. It's not like we want to say good, that's why we can't be around those people. No, it's just you're not interested in the same things. It's just naturally sometimes there is that saying that people in your life for a reason, season, or lifetime, and some people, and this was really just for a reason. Could have been a season. And then enters love, or a deeper experience of this emotional regulation that you're being receptive to what's next, and you're sitting and being able to be in the present while also dipping your toe into the future, which I highly suggest this month, water month, future month, psychic month, dipping your toe in this energy, in this experience of okay, if this is clearing up, which has been a theme in the readings, if this is clearing up, then what's next? What can I envision? How do I feel about what's transpired so far, and how how do I grow with this? Where do I go with this? And for some of you, it does revolve in maybe experiencing your voice more, experiencing your beliefs more, being more involved with that, with the community, or with learning something new that feels like you just get it. You know, really diving into something that whether you're good at it or not, there's something that you get about it and you want to learn from it. And I definitely suggest going in and learning some things, especially after you've digested and, you know, maybe even have been through a little bit of a, you know, you may even experience some grief from this. Or you may even experience relief, which can be hard to admit, right? That you have relief from doing something hard, but it's just the truth. Like you know, I've had in my own experience where I have let go of friendships and it felt like a relief. And I was like, oh, wow, this was only serving this pressure or this version. This wasn't really, this wasn't adding to my experience here. This was just here. And not that everything has to be that way, but it is right now. It just is. And then, you know, by the eclipses, it'll wash everything away. I just think that you'll be seeing things and feeling things in a way that is very, not just mature, this emotional regulation, this deep understanding. Like you go in it feeling, experiencing it in a very feminine way, and then you come out the tail end of the month and you feel way more secure within yourself and your decisions because you've had to make and see, you not only had to see some hard things and experience them, but you've also had to allow yourself to go through that. And anyone who does it on the regular is fine, but you know, we can curate our lives to an extent, like our experiences, like where we go, except for like at work, right? Depending on what environment you work in, but like online, we can see what we look at. We have a more curated, not as spontaneous experience all the time, especially if, you know, you're a comfort person, you keep going back to the same thing because it's not only comfortable, but it's what you look for, right? It's for you, but now it's understanding that that can go no matter where you are. Or it may look different in a month, right? Don't be too attached either. We talked about that a lot. That's going to continue. It's this willingness to be open right now with yourself, Cancer, in a way that I know isn't always easy for you because it could almost make you more feisty. But like, allow it. Why not? There's a vulnerability that you meet yourself with, but the luck can transcend and travel for a while, especially through to your season almost. So I'm excited to get into the next part. I was curious where this is going to go. And if you're feeling antsy, finding a way to ground yourself again, maybe even through your breath. Drink some water. Something of that sort. And we'll see you right in the next part. See you next month, Cancer.